Many congratulations to the top three finishers of the 2022 FIA Formula One Monaco Grand Prix. In third place, Max Verstappen. In second place, Carlos Sainz. And taking his third win in Formula One and his first of the 2022 season, our winner, Sergio Perez. You looked very emotional up there on the podium, Checo. Of your three wins in Formula One, where does this one rank?
Certainly very high up there. Winning Monaco, it's a dream come true as a driver. When you come into Formula One and when you come to Monaco, when you drive it for the first time, you always dream about one day winning the race or racing in here. So it's just incredible. It's such a big day for myself. I was driving with Pedro Rodriguez's helmet today, and I'm sure up there he will be super proud of what we have achieved in the sport.
And you went from third to first after what turned out to be a strategic masterstroke. Was the timing of your pit stops obvious to you in the cockpit, or were you surprised to jump ahead?
No, it was quite obvious at the time that it was the track ready for slicks, especially with the wets already overheated. But it wasn't clear for me if we could keep going and do like Carlos did, going straight into the slick. But I think in that phase we lost you could see with Carlos that he lost so much race time that I was already behind him. But again, we managed to stay out, push when we needed to make that inter work. And I think it was just a great combination. You know, the team was telling me what to do, how to get the maximum out of today's result, and we managed to make it work. It sounds easy, but in these conditions, pushing but not making mistakes and not putting a foot wrong is never easy to achieve in Monaco.
Well, it was very intense at the end with lots of pressure from Carlos. Describe what it was like in the cockpit.
Yeah, I felt I had the race under control, pretty easy. Felt like I was not really pushing, and then all of a sudden, I start to have a lot of understeering to 3 and 4, lap after lap, and I could see that Carlos just was next to me, and I was like, I still had very good traction out of turn 8, so I was still a bit comfortable with it, but going into turn 10, I knew that it was very important to not make a mistake, because if you cut the chicane, then you have to get back the position. So Carlos was putting a lot of pressure, but then towards the end, I managed to clear up the graining a bit, and it was mainly turn 3 and 4. And then once I managed to open a bit of a gap, I could do my normal line through 3, 4, 5, which already brought some lap time with it, and we managed to bring it home a bit safer.
Checo, you were very frustrated after qualifying yesterday. Look at you now.
Yeah, this is Formula One. You go from one end to the other in a matter of seconds. So today it's a day to enjoy. Don't think too much about what's ahead, because today it's a massive day for me.
Many congratulations. Thank you. Carlos, coming to you, a second consecutive second place for you here in Monaco. You seemed a little bit frustrated when David Coulthard spoke to you earlier. Do you rue the timing of your pit stop, or do you accept it was just bad luck to meet that back marker on your outlet?
No, I think today as a team there were some very tough calls to be made out there, and a lot of communications going on the radio to see what we could do. I knew that by staying out on the wets, I would earn the race lead at some point, and by the time I was on the race lead, I saw that it was going to be very close to going on slicks. The track was drying up super quickly, and at that point, we decided to go until the slick. We put on the slick on the hard tire, and the outlap, actually, the tire felt really good after using a wet that is super slippery. On a hard tire, it felt pretty grippy, but with a tough luck that we were in the gearbox of a Williams or a lap car that did a very slow sector 1 and 2, and didn't let me by. This cost me 1 or 2 seconds of race time. That was enough to Checo to overcut me.
Can you talk us through the end of the race? Were you tempted to go for a move on Checo? Did you feel the opportunity was there? You were so close to him at some point.
It was tempting. It was tempting into the chicane, but unfortunately the track was still a bit wet on the inside. So if I go and brake late in there, it would have been a bit of a mess, and I probably could have taken Checo out with me. tempting in a couple of other places, but realistically, with these big wide cars, the spaces are really narrow, and even on a drying track where there's damp patches offline, it's almost impossible. And I tried everything I could to nearly launch a move, but even when I did, I nearly took him with me. So yeah, I think I did everything I could.
Who had the faster car in the different conditions, Ferrari or Red Bull?
I don't know, but it doesn't matter really. Monaco is not, as you saw today, it's not about who is the fastest. It's about who gets all the timing of the pit stops right and all the strategy calls right. Red Bull went for the inters. We decided to stay out on wets. I mean, I was on the race lead before the slick, so yeah, you could argue. I think today we did the right choices. It was the timing of that lap car, really, that cost us a lot today.
Okay, bad luck. Thank you. Max, can I put that question to you? Who had the faster car today in the different conditions, do you think? Red Bull or Ferrari?
Well, if you just look at single lap pace, I think they were faster than us. Long run around here is very difficult to say because nobody really pushes, of course, even in practice in the long runs, because it doesn't really matter. It's all about qualifying, and it doesn't really matter if you're fast in the race because you can't pass anyway. So difficult to tell, but yeah, today was really about strategy and making the right calls. And I have to say the team was very relaxed and on it with their calls, like very straightforward. There was no doubt. It was like pit now, we go on this tire, pit now again, we go on this tire. So yeah, they did a really good job with that.
And positions were made and lost on very fine margins today.
Yeah.
You were right on the limit as you exited the pit lane on the hard tyre as well.
Yeah, I needed it. I mean, otherwise you would have passed me because you would not have the traction. So my pit exit was quite, probably that was the most fun I had in the race, just my pit exit, trying to stay ahead, which yeah, summed up a bit my race. I mean, of course, after yesterday, not being able to do that final lap, you know, you have to start forward and, you know, your race is going to be a bit compromised, but it's all about just, you know, trying to maximize the result. And I think as a team, we did that today. And yeah, we had good pace. I mean, you know, all the laps I had in clean air, they felt right. And then the call on to, you know, to go with the medium at the end was quite risky, I think, compared to just staying on a hard tire. Especially also because I think we didn't really know how many laps there were going to be left. But I saw that the two cars in front of me started to grain a bit. Checo had quite a lot of front graining, and Carlos was struggling a bit with the rear. And yeah, from my side, I mean, it's just impossible to pass. But my balance felt all right, and I could actually be really close. I could have, if I wanted to, I could have bumped Carlos a few times in the hairpin. Maybe he would have liked it.
I think did I bump you?
It was so close.
Because 2 times I said I'm gonna make him spin because he was so slow.
You were doing also
it
at
was
one
like
point
doing a
different line,
you know, like with the steering like this.
I knew I could park my car, and there is no room for anyone to go there.
Yeah. So yeah, it was getting close at the end, but even with getting close, the problem is always the acceleration out of the corner. Like you can be in the gearbox, you can never pass because of they always gain 2-3 tenths, and that's just enough, of course, to then defend or whatever, drive in the middle of the track.
All right. Max, thank you very much. Let's open this to the floor. As ever, name and publication, please. First one, please.
Alan Baldwin, Reuters. Well done, Checo. It's your 3rd win, but your first at a classic, historic European track. Your other 2 have been obviously Baku and Sakir. I wonder, and you mentioned Pedro Rodriguez, I wonder whether you sort of particularly feel the weight of the great Mexican drivers of the past and also the history in Europe winning a race like this.
Well, certainly in terms of history of the sport, you know, I'm a big fan of my sport, so certainly knowing what it means to win a race like this. I mean, they're all very important, but certainly this is very special, and it goes very, very high in the list for my country. And yeah, I certainly feel like at the moment I'm the only Mexican or even Latin American driver on the grid. So it just shows how difficult it is for us. Not saying that for European drivers it's easy, but it just shows how difficult it is for us to make it into the sport and to have successful career in this sport. It's quite hard, but I have to say I'm extremely proud of it.
Thanks, Checo. Next one.
Alex Canlocus, Autosport. A question to the two Red Bull drivers, please. Max just called the decision to take the mediums for the final stint risky. Can you just explain what did the team tell you both about why you were going to make that decision? And also, Max, just at the end, how much in a better shape were your tyres? Were they completely confined compared to Checo's? Thanks.
Well, Max, why don't we start with you?
Just because, of course, I have a little bit better grip. And, of course, because we already did a few laps on the hard tires, so they're a bit cold. But, of course, at the end, it doesn't really matter because it was going to be a rolling start. In a standing start, of course, it might make a difference. But it anyway wouldn't have been fair, you know, if it would have been a standing start just because of the difference in, well, the left side was still quite wet. And that's why it was a good call to do a rolling start. But then, yeah, when I saw my mediums on the car, I was like, it's going to be quite a tricky one to the end. But luckily, yeah, my feeling, I had still decent tires to the end. I mean, of course, they're not in the best shape, but they felt all right. But of course, when you're following closely, you start wearing them more as well.
Checo, how seriously did you consider the hard tyre at that point?
Well, at that point, I think, yeah, like Max said, it was clear that we were doing a rolling start. So we thought that it was going to be a relative short race, you know. But still, there were plenty of laps. And I'm sure if we were to do the race again, we would have chosen a different tyre to do the race.
Thank you. Next one.
Jesus Balseiro, Diarios. Question to Carlos. Where or when did you lose the chance to fight for the win today? I mean, you, the team, what could you have done differently today? And also after this weekend, do you feel more confident coming from where you come this season for the races to come?
Where did we lose it? We lost it obviously with a very good outlap there, in-lap there from Checo, I guess, that you also need to give a prize to him as a driver and the team Red Bull that they did a very good in-lap, but we lost it in the outlap. I mean, to have to hold sector 1 and 2 behind a lap car, a Williams that was on hard tires, struggling with warm-up, I was getting really frustrated on the radio because I knew this Checo was going to be fast in the in-lap with the Inter, and I was having a very poor outlap on the hard because of the traffic. It is how it is. We would have boxed one lap earlier, one lap later. Maybe the track position would have been different at the time, and maybe I wouldn't have had a lap car that would have been in front of us. But especially in the wet, it's very difficult to calculate how long you're going to be through the pits because the pit entry and the pit exits are wet. So the team doesn't have a clear indication or idea of where you're going to come out because the pit exits and pit entry times vary quite a lot, no? We were relatively unlucky, I guess, to just come out in the gearbox of a Williams that was struggling with warm-up at the time. And yeah, this is where the race went away.
Thank you, Carlos. Another one?
Aaron, Racing News 365. Another question for Carlos. During the race, it seems like you almost lost it on the straight. What happened, and were you scared that your race was almost over?
Yeah, I was. Actually, when you tell me this, I'm in a good mood because the race should have ended there. But I think we were both lapping lap cars. Yeah. Did you see me?
Yeah, when you went a bit offline.
Well,
yeah, that was
the lap cars were being.
Was that just before we had the VSC?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right before the BSC. I see. I think they were obviously staying in the dry line, and if you wanted to pass them, you had to go on the wet, on a hard tire, on a cold hard tire, and there, the main straight turns right a little bit. So I went on the damp patch, and suddenly the car gave me a massive oversteer moment that nearly made me. I think I did 3 or 4 counter steers to control the car, and I thought I was gonna crash in the middle of the straight. It just shows how on the limit Monaco is with this kind of thing, especially on a race like this. You need maximum concentration, like Checo said, because any little mistake, any little offline moment, you're in the wall or you're on the dump patch and you're off.
Thank you. Another one?
Joost Nederpelt, nu.nl. A question to Checo. Checo, can you clarify your contract situation for next year? Because after the race, you seem to say something like, I signed too early. Was it a reference to your contract?
I I meant about the bottle of champagne. We'll find out.
I think what you did today might help. Just a little bit.
I hope.
Thank you. Any more?
Erwin Jeggi, Motorsport.com. Question for Max. Checo is only 15 points behind you in the championship now. Do you see him as a potential title rival? And you clearly have a good relationship. Do you think that will change when things will heat up?
I don't think so. In terms of that, the relationship will change. You know, we have a good.
We're still gonna be in love, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Why would that change? I mean, you know, we work really well as a team. We always try to optimize the car and work for the team. And you know, we can accept when somebody does a good job or does a better job, and I think that's very important because that's how you are respectful to each other. And yeah, may the best man win at the end, right? We always, of course, try to do the best we can on the track, but we also respect each other a lot and try to score the most possible points every single weekend for the team.
Thanks, Max. Another one?
Alex Canlocus, Autosport. Question to Checo, please. Just regarding the phase of the race where you'd put the inters on, your pace was really, really strong. As you say, you closed back up to Carlos. Could you talk us through that phase of the race? And also before then, had you given any consideration to going straight from the extreme wets to the slicks?
Actually, definitely. When I was on the Inter, I was like, oh, I think we screwed up because the track was pretty dry, and it felt like it was just a matter of lap before we needed to go into the slick. So yeah, at that time, still I felt like it was just a crossover between the Inter being a bit quicker, but because of the warm up of the slick tire, and it's where we could make the difference to Carlos when he boxed for that tire. We were able to have a very quick in lap. We pushed really hard, and yeah, the tire was there, and the track was ready for the slick tire. Saying that, it was quite difficult the first laps, you know, because especially on the hard, the warm up felt a bit tricky. You don't put a lot of energy in Monaco, so I mean, it's a day that just to bring it home, we can all be happy, you know, because we could have done a mistake. I mean, I was chatting early to Max, the amount of times that even Carlos, he was so close into 15 to touch the barrier. I was so close, Max. So we all had big moments today where the race could have been over.
Thank you. Let's do one more.
It's a question, Alan Baldwin, Reuters. Question to both Max and Checo. We've got Baku coming up. Good and bad memories for the pair of you from last year, obviously. I wondered if you'd give some thoughts on that. And also, both of you are now Monaco winners, so you're a third of the way towards maybe one day the Triple Crown. And we've got the Indy 500 today, so I just wondered if you had any thoughts about whether you might do that one day.
Okay, Max, yeah.
I have no desire to chase the Triple Crown, at least not IndyCar. I appreciate what they do. It's insane. I mean, these drivers, you know, I have a lot of respect for what they achieved there. But for me, you know, especially after now being in F1 for such a long time already, and yeah, just I don't need to risk my life there and potentially injure myself with whatever, you know, your legs, or it's just not worth it anymore. Let's say like that. Maybe Le Mans. You know, I do like endurance races, so I'll probably do some, hopefully soon. But for me, yeah, it doesn't really matter. You know, I of course try to be good in F1. I try to be good in whatever I do, but yeah, that desire of a Triple Crown or whatever, yeah, not interested. And about Baku, yeah, I mean, last year was unlucky. As simple as that. I mean, we had it all in control. It would have been a great day.
You lost it at the main straight, right?
Yeah, it's just, I don't know what happened. Probably ran out of talent. But yeah, it looked like all in control. And also for the team, it would have been an amazing result. And, you know, these kind of things actually might have cost us at the end also a potential world championship for the teams, right? So it was a very painful one. But that happens. That's racing. It's still a mechanical sport. But you don't really think about it. You know, it's different cars, different tires. And yeah, we go again.
Thank you. Checo.
Yeah, I have no interest, to be honest. in endurance, don't know if I'll do that one day. I don't think so. I think once I'm done with F1, I need to go back and look after my kids. I already have 3, so I'll be quite busy. Yeah, I'll be quite busy. I think that's more for these 2 guys.
He's going to build a squad so he can go and play football with them.
And Checo, just returning to Baku, scene of your victory.
Yeah, it was a very special moment to get my first victory with the team, especially at the time that it was my start with them, and it was just a bit difficult to start, and that was great to get my first victory for Red Bull.
Okay, Carlos, just before we don't want you to feel left out. Triple crown for you?
No, thanks.
That's clear.
Why? You got no kids.
Yes, we'll leave it there. Well done today, guys. See you in Baku. Thank you.